President Biden delivers his first State of the Union address. Clearly, it has to be weighing on his mind as he speaks to Congress and the nation tonight. Joining us now, CNN senior political analyst John Avlon, author of the new book, Lincoln and the Fight for Peace, even more relevant with peace and democracy hanging in the balance right now in Europe. John, President Biden has to give a speech tonight, which isn't the one he expected to give a month ago.
That's exactly right. And these speeches are worked on for months. But rarely have you had a State of the Union with the sense of real-time high drama, of an international crisis that is unfolding, the U.S. and the U.S. president marshaling a coalition to defend democracy. And this has, of course, been one of Biden's core themes for years, democracy versus autocracy. But this is a proving ground. And in a time when he's faced a lot of headwinds from popularity, a lot of criticisms, despite progress against the pandemic and the economy, he's gotten credit even from people like former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice for his leadership in helping bolster this broad coalition. So it's a moment of high drama tonight. This is not your typical State of the Union.
If freedom is at stake, which it is
Yes.
in Ukraine, and we see it from Vladimir Zelensky addressing the European Parliament, freedom is at stake there, and President Biden no doubt will address that tonight. You've written speeches before. Yeah. How do you go from freedom as at stake in the world to I've got money to pay for bridges in the infrastructure bill? How do you, and I don't mean to be glib here, how do you thread that line? Do you bother touting achievements and talking about domestic agenda, or do you stick to the big subject at hand?
You do, but you do it in the back half, and here's how you do it. Part of defending democracy abroad is showing it can work at home. And, my fellow Americans, my fellow members of Congress, we need to show that we can deliver, and here's what we've done, and here's what we need to do. Because you need to, look, he can take all the credit in the world, and there will be a little bit, and there should be, about the progress that's made. 6 million new jobs, low unemployment. But people are feeling the pain of inflation, the pain of gas prices, which could go up as a result of this conflict. So he's going to have to show empathy for that, and then a plan to address it, not just feelings of empathy.
So the audience, not just Congress, not just the American people, but really, truly the world. So what does he say to the people in Ukraine, and what does he say to Vladimir Putin?
He says to the people of Ukraine, you are not alone. It adds even more urgency to this idea of democracies standing together. These international multilateral organizations, which he's believed in for his entire career. This is the proving ground. And ironically, Putin has reminded people of their relevance, of their urgency. He has solidified the resolve. And American leadership matters. And to Putin, he needs to stand up and simply say, we refuse to live in a world where might makes right. And we will stand up to bullies. We will stand up for democracy. And there's a line there because he's not going to risk getting in a hot war. But this is a really dramatic moment to highlight the basic difference of his vision and his presidency, certainly with his predecessor. But he's going to have to pivot to domestic issues as well because he can't ignore those.
Vladimir Putin, NATO unifier. Can he also be, U.S. partisan unifier? John Avlon, thank you very much.
Thank you.